Stuck again. God. Oh, hello, it's me, Darth Vader, obviously. Yeah, so let me tell you about what happened to me recently. I was just sitting in a park on a bench, minding my own business, and some guy sits down next to me. Never seen him before, and he starts talking, and he says, hello, and I say, yeah, hello, I mean, don't really care. And he says, have you ever heard the tragedy? I said, no, please, no. Like, last time someone told me a story like that, things didn't end so well for me. He said, no, did you ever hear the tragedy of Anakin Skywalker? I said, well, mate, obviously. He said, yeah, exactly, that's what I thought, so I have a proposition for you. I said, okay, well, keep talking. He said, well, actually, we've been following your career with great interest. And I said, well, that's lovely, what do you want from me? He said, I work for Cross. I said, okay, what's Cross? I thought it was an insurance company. I mean, that star got blown up under me supervision, so there's a couple of insurance companies kind of dogging me, so to speak. He said, no, Cross Pen Company, we want to make a pen with your likeness. I think to myself, well, it's not like I don't have enough to do, but I said, well, mate, let me think about it. So I went home, wanted to discuss it with my wife, then I realised I'd strangled her to death with the force, so I couldn't ask her. I thought of asking my son, but I cut his own hand off, so I don't think he wants to talk to me that much. There have been rumours of my son having a sister, so I have a daughter, but I'm afraid that we kind of blew up her planet, so she don't talk to me. So be honest, I mean, I don't really have a lot going on in my life when it comes to family, innit? So I thought, you know what, let's do this. So I rang up the guy, I said, sure mate, let's get this show on the road. That's what we did. So now there's a Cross Darth Vader pen. Yeah. So I was asked to review it, so I will. I know a little bit about my own backstory, so I'm sure I can tell you a bit about it. So I watched some of B.R.E videos, and he said that he does this thing with I'll show you the parts of the pen, I do a writing sample, I'll tell you what I like about it, what I don't like about it, and then we'll, etc. So I thought to myself, well, if he can do it, then a Dark Lord of the Sith can probably do it. I mean, it can't be that difficult. Bloody Wookiees! Same thing every time. Anyway, sorry, minor disruption. Let's just talk about the parts of the pen, innit? Let's get started. By the way, this pen was sent to me by Apple Boom. That's it. Yeah, Apple Boom. So order it there, B.R.E website, discount code in it. So that's it. Now I want to talk about my own pen. So let's turn this camera down. Alright, so here we go. Cross, Star Wars, Darth Vader, picture of me, obviously. Peerless, limited edition. So you open up the box. Out comes a tiny box, as well as a bigger box. In the tiny box is a nice little stand for you. Star Wars, Cross. You can put the pen on there, works pretty well, looks nice, put it on your desk, conversation starter, as I tend to be. Try wearing a giant leather outfit and a strange helmet all day and see how many conversations you start. Then we have the box here. Box is quite big, says Cross again. You have this little comfortable cushion. I actually used it for a quick nap earlier, works pretty well. You have a little thing here that is on your pen. Then in here is a couple of things. First of all, there's a little card telling you a little bit about the pen you have just bought and welcoming you to the elite galactic empire. Always nice to have you. Certificate of authenticity. This is number 76, which of course is 1 year too early, but that's okay. And then here we have a booklet, right? So it opens up. Whoops, sorry mate. So got some information on Cross. Not that interesting though, I'm more interesting. So there is that. You can lift this up. You've got a little converter, and you have a little velvety black cape. Makes sense. You can actually put your pen in there if you want to carry it around. I found that to be quite nice. Looks a bit like my cape, to be honest. That's probably what they modeled it after. You get 2 cartridges which are black, obviously black. I mean, what else would you put in this pen? Here you've got the pen. So let's actually talk a bit about the pen. This is the pen as a size comparison to my lightsaber. But I understand that some of you are not really familiar with the size of my saber, so here's a whatever this is, Lamy, I forgot what this is called, anyway, Lamy something, Safari, whatever. Here's the pen. So what detail did Cross put in there based on me? Well, actually quite a lot of things. So first of all, here you have a nice little bit of detail, which is actually the filter that's in my breathing mask, which is quite nice. They put that in. It says Cross right there. My helmet is there. Can you see it? It's a little tough to pick up maybe, but there's my breathing mask, there's the lenses in my mask, and then over here is the helmet. So there is that in there. It says limited edition. It says 76. Because that's this number, and then here we have a Swarovski crystal, which is actually a kyber crystal. That's you know, kind of what I have in my lightsaber. So that's that red. Here on the back it says Star Wars. It also has the Imperial logo, which makes complete sense. You're part of the Empire now. And then here we have some of the buttons that I have on my chest to, you know, all the life support systems and all that stuff that I have. If you know, I actually fell into lava once, so yeah, some dude cut off me legs, me arm. Great teacher, so happy to have been his friend. But yeah, so that happened, and now I need all this stuff. So you got all these buttons. Don't make the joke, don't push them, because I will use the force and choke you to death. I'm so sick and tired of people running up to me, pushing me buttons. You push my buttons, and you're gonna snuff it. So there's that. Then here there is the very nice sort of ribbed pattern that was on my armor as well, and so that's quite nice. It's all very shiny, very black, as it should be, because that's my whole armor. I spend a lot of time polishing my helmet, so it's very nice and shiny. Now you unscrew the cap, and then you have a rather nice section. It's a bit girthier than on some of the previous Cross Star Wars pens they did, but those were Townsend models, and of course there was that one with the bounty hunter. They're just, we don't need that scum, you know. So I like that they made this pen a bit girthier. I'm a big guy, so I like to see that. You have the nib, which was commissioned from Sailor, which is a company the Empire took over, so now they work for us. Be honest, it's what the Emperor likes us to do, you know, have a lot of these companies are now ours. It says 125, that's because the Peerless, you know, 125 years. It is an 18 karat nib, it is made in Japan, so expect it to be quite fine. You can get them fine medium. You have a nice simple plastic feed. In this case, pen is fed by a little cartridge, but you can use a converter just as well, no problem. And if you really want to know, the clip works well, and you can also post the pen, and then you have a nice girthy pen in your hand. So I think that's really quite nice, and I think we should see how this writes, because I understood that that's what the guy B.R.E. always does. So let's zoom out a little bit. Yeah, here we go. It's an 18K fine nib, and the ink is Cross black. Just a cartridge came with it. I mean, why make things complicated? Let's do a bit of writing. So there is that. It is a bit of feedback, but bear in mind this is a very fine nib, so it's kind of what you would expect, and if you don't like it, I'll strike you down and you'll become more powerful than you could possibly imagine. So there is that. Let's do a bit of fast writing. Alright, there is that. Let's see what the wetness is like. And I will say this, for a fine nib, that is a wet writer. So that is actually very nice, a very pleasant experience as you write with it. It glides across the paper like, you know, a lightsaber cuts through a blast door. Now, final thing I want to do is a bit of line variation. Well, not that much, mate. Don't expect a whole lot in that regard. It's a pretty hard nib, but I'm a hard Sith Lord, so that kind of makes sense. I'm a tough guy. So there is that. If you want to squeeze out some line variation, you could, but I'd be very careful. This is not at all a flex nib, it is really quite rigid. Reverse writing. What will be a good word to try and write in reverse? Yeah, alright. Well, I think we got what we needed, and let's talk about what I like about it, what I don't like about it. See you in a minute. Alright, so what do I like, what do I not like about the Cross Darth Vader pen? Well, I may be a little biased, so I may be not the best person to ask, but I think there's a couple of things about this pen that really make it stand out. First of all, it's a bit of a girthier Star Wars pen up to this point. We've seen the Townsend, which is very skinny. From another brand, Schaefer, they had the Pop, and the Pop is a very inexpensive pen. Well, there's nothing wrong with that, that's a lot of fun, but if you want something a bit fancier, that is not all plastic, then this is for sure nice. Right, we've got all metal, just like my armour, which is quite nice. As I said, a bit girthier, that's quite nice if you like something that's a bit bigger. It's not quite so skinny and thin, so I like that. I also like the great amount of detail, and I'm very happy they consulted me to see what of me, you know, they could put in there. A lot of things, as I said, like even the little things, the little buttons. I mean, look at it. You got them buttons. You got the buttons. You see the issue? Yeah, it's exactly the same. That's exactly what we went for. So that, of course, really helps. I think that's nice. So if you are a fan, which I know you are, clearly this is the thing for you to get. If you like Star Wars, it's the thing for you to get. If you are a collector, it's a thing for you to get, and it's not necessarily super cheap. So think of about 428 US from Apple Boom, so that's always an option. It's not super cheap, but then bear in mind, limited edition pen, all the detail, clearly something going in for, you know, collectors, etc. So I can see that price being fairly justified. And here's something else I will say. This pen is an exceptional writer, because being that they went to Sailor for the nib, as I said, we have annexed that company for the Great Galactic Empire. It's kind of nice for us to be able to make them nibs now. It's a very nice writer. It just writes really properly, so you're not buying a collector's piece which you put in your desk, you put in your glass shelf with all your other collector bits, your vinyl cape Jawas, etc. But you actually put this on your desk to write with, and it actually works really nicely at that because it is such a nice writer. And with the Sailor nib being a Sailor nib, you know that you're buying a certain level of quality, and it performs flawlessly. So all I can say is it's a fantastic pen. If you only knew the power of the dark side, you would know why you would have to buy this. And I will tell you this, you will like this review. I don't see you liking this review. You will like this review. Why are you, Toydarian? Alright, let me try to motivate you in another way, because I can find other ways to motivate you. Like this video. Like it before you run out of breath, mate. There you go. That's better, isn't it? Alright, hope this was useful. Guys, thank you to Appleboom, and see you around. Drop by in the Death Star one day. You know, it's fun. We've got a pretty good cafeteria. Just see, you know, for the fun of it. Hope this was useful, and I am your father. Just thought it was time I'd tell you. Alright? Join me, and together we can rule the universe. Bye!